Yeah. So we started the recording. Thank you once again for joining us today. We're so excited to have you here with us. So, and I'll just be as a way of just telling us what we are in for today. So today we're going to start by welcoming you in. We are going to have a quick icebreaker activity that we get to know each other, and also have a quick activity that we'll do before we commence the event properly. Then after that, we'll tell us you will learn a little about who we are at Strong Women, Small Boxes. Then after we've introduced ourselves, we've shared our vision, mission, who we are with you, then we're going to move on straight to the workshop for today. Then where we have our guest speaker come up to take us on this journey of how we can drive change, how we can drive social change as women business leader. Then after that, we're going to have question and answer and an activity and at the end, and we'll have a challenge that we can do. There's going to be a challenge at the end of the workshop too. So you do not want to run off before the end of the event today. Thank you so much once again for joining us. Now to get straight to what we have today. Now it's time for us to get to know each other. I would like to know where we're joining from. I would like us to go to the chat now and drop our name, where we're joining from, and what do you do? We would like to know what you do. Are you an online tutor? Do you bake cakes? Do you sell wigs? What exactly do you do as an entrepreneur? Would like to know. Kindly drop that in the chat. Then we also want to know what you think. That do you think as a business owner that your business have any role to play in the society? Do you think that as the way as you go about selling your wigs, as you go about selling your bags, as you go about doing your home services, doing your online tutoring, do you think that do you think your business have any role to play in the society? Or you are just, I beg, let me just mind my business and make my money. I'm here to make my money, and what concern me and the society? We would like to know what you think in the chat box. So kindly head on to the chat box now. Please share your name with us. Tell us where you're joining from. Tell us what you do, and tell us what you think, if you think that what you do play a role or has anything to do with the society. I would like to hear from us. So I'll give us some few minutes, and I'll head over to the chat now to read out to see where we are joining from. So let's go to the chat now and let's see. So I'm waiting on us. I'm waiting to see where we are joining from and what we do. And if we believe that what we do has anything to do with play a role in our society, please let's keep our comments coming. Let's keep our comments coming. Oh, I've not seen anybody respond in the chat yet. So what's our name? What do we do? Where are we joining from? Let's share in the chat. Let's get to know each other. Let's get to know each other. Remember, we're building a community of women, and that's how when we know each other, then we can support each other better. So let's get to know each other. Oh, thank you very much. This is my name is Oluwatosin Owolabi. I'm a lawyer and image consultant. I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. Hello, Tosin. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining us today, all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. So you're here to tell me, I also want you to add what you think. Do you think as a lawyer, as an image consultant, do you think your business has anything to do with the society or has any role to play in the society? Kindly drop that in the chat box too and share with us too. Thank you. Let's keep our chats coming in. Let's keep our responses coming in. Excuse me. Hi, Leslie. Oh, Leslie is joining from Abuja. Leslie is a marketing and communication professional. Hi, Leslie. Nice to meet you, and thank you for joining. So, your business has anything to do with the society? Do you think your business has any impact at all on the society, or are you just doing business as usual? I just want to make money. I just want to do my own business. Okay, we have another person joining. Hi, Esther. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us from Lagos. Esther from Lagos. Esther from Lagos, what do you do? You've not told us what you do. And I also want you to let me know, share with us if you think what you do has an impact on the society, has an impact on your society. So let's share. Let's share. Let's keep our responses coming. Let's keep. Oh, hi, Amen. Amen is joining from Castina. Amen sells homemade perfume. Really good. So, Amen, do you think your perfume business has any impact or has any role to play in the society? If you do or if you do not, can you just share in the chats? Thank you. Let's keep our comments coming. Okay. Yes, this is Ruth. Hello, Ruth. Ruth deals in varieties of perfume. So, okay. Okay. So let me finish with Ruth. Ruth says that Ruth deals with a variety of perfume in wholesale and retail quantity, and she's also a content writer and creator joining from Abuja, Nigeria. Thank you, Ruth, for joining us this morning. So do you think your perfume business has any role to play in the society? Oh, Ibukun has replied, he said, as a lawyer, okay. I develop policies that drive social change and transformation. I assist businesses, SMEs to structure their business operation. Oh, thank you. She believes that enabling women to be the best they can through confidence and appearance. Thank you. Oh, we have another person joining us. Aisha Ajayi. Thank you for joining. Oh, all the way from UK. Thank you for joining us today. She's an HR professional. Oh, and she believes that what she does has a purposeful impact on the society. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Then this is Ifoma Cassandra joining from Lagos. Thank you so much for all of us that have sent in our responses. Thank you, Ifoma. Thank you, Aisha. Thank you, Olabi. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Amen. Thank you, everyone that has taken our time to join us today. Thank you. Thank you so much. So we're going to be moving forward, and this time around, we are going to be talking about who we are at Strong Women Small Boxes. So at Strong Women Small Boxes is a social enterprise that's built for women entrepreneurs. And what we do generally is that we train, we empower, and we motivate generation of impactful and successful female entrepreneurs. So the goal generally is to train, empower, and motivate the generation of impactful and successful female entrepreneurs. And how do we go about this? How do we do this? We do this through business coaching. We do this through events and workshops. We do this through online resources, a lot of online resources on our website. And we do this also through integrated programs such as accelerator programs. And also we've been looking into tech and sustainability. Now that is that about us. Now, what is our vision? Our vision is actually to build a generation of thriving, successful, and impactful entrepreneurs. So we don't just want to build a communities of entrepreneurs alone, but we want entrepreneurs that are thriving in whatever sphere, whatever field they find themselves. They are thriving, they are successful, and not just successful alone. Their success is also impacting others around them. And our mission is to empowering female entrepreneurs through skill-based training and community. Like we have our WhatsApp community where we drop online resources for the women in our community, but we drop online resources and we have events from time to time to train women and to empower them to do more in the field they find themselves. And what have we've been around for some time, and we've not just been around without making impact. We've made impact, and we've impacted over 800 women through events, through free resources and business coaching. Now, we are going to meet this is the time where I get to introduce the visionaire, the person behind the vision, the person that had this vision and is bringing everybody together. So this I would like to hand over to our boss, the CEO and founder of Strong Women Small Boxes, Mrs. Gertrude Charles, to introduce herself. Thank you very much, Ma. Over to you, Ma.
Hi, Grace. Thank you so much for everything so far. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining. It's a Saturday. It's early in the morning, so I know what it can be like waking up to be here. But if you know that, or I'm sure that one of the reasons why you're here is because you understand that there's something for you to do beyond just running your business, that you can have an impact, and that's the reason why you registered for the event and you're here. So like Grace rightly mentioned, my name is Gertrude Charles. I hold an MBA from the University of Nottingham, and I am a serial entrepreneur with over 13 years experience running small businesses, helping others run their own businesses. And my experience spans across education, tech, sustainability, education, in so many ways. And like Grace already has mentioned, the reason for this event, the reason for being here, the reason for Strong Women Small Boxes is out of experience. Understanding the struggles that it takes for a woman to start and run a small business, especially in Nigeria, and having that conviction that we can do something about it, we can impact women, we can make that journey a little bit easier by providing the community that will train, that will provide resources, that will have events like this that will show you how you can actually impact yourself and your community.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why we're here. And I look forward to what this event can do for all of us, to see how much we can learn, how much we can gain, and how much we can continue to impact ourselves and our communities beyond this after the event. Thank you all so much. And thank you, Grace. Over to you now.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma. That's our CEO and the visionary behind Strong Women Small Boxes. Now we're going to move on to introducing the team, where we have a team of women that we are supporting the vision. We are moving together with the vision to see that the vision grows even wider and beyond. I'm going to start by introducing myself. My name is Grace Aremu. I'm the Learning and Development Officer for Strong Women Small Boxes, and I would let my other colleagues to introduce themselves, starting with Amen Nchoku. Nchoku, can you go on to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. Good morning. It's great to have you all here. My name is Amen Joko. I'm the Programs Officer for Strong Women Small Boxes.
Thank you, Amen. Thank you for joining us. Now, next will be Leslie. Leslie, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, Grace. Good morning, everyone.
Hi, Leslie. Good morning.
My name is Lacey, and I'm glad to be here. I'm the community manager for Strong Women Small Boxes, and like I mentioned earlier, I'm a comms professional. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Leslie. It's good to have you here. The next will be Esther Ajayi. Esther Ajayi, could you go on to introduce yourself?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Esther Ajayi. I'm the project officer for Strong Women Small Boxes. Thank you.
Thank you, Esther. Next one will be Jetta. Can you go on to introduce yourself, please? Hello, Jetta. Hello. Okay, while we wait for Jetta to introduce herself, let's move on to Ruth. Ruth, can you go on to introduce yourself? Hello, Ruth.
Hello, good morning, strong women. I'm glad to be here. I hope you are too. My name is Ruth. I'm the Assistant Community Manager.
Nice to meet you. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Now, finally, I would also want to introduce our HR manager in the person of Ms. Aisha Ajayi. Please, Ma, could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everyone. Good morning. My name is Aisha Tajayan. As she's mentioned, I'm the HR business partner for Strong Women's Rock Process. I'm very delighted to be here. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for coming together to drive this vision. Thank you so much. So now, moving on would be, now, if this event is for you, if you're passionate about using your business to influence, using your business influence to create a lasting social impact. Now, you are in the right place if you want to learn how women leaders are transforming communities through innovation and purpose-driven leadership. Now, you are in the right place if you're seeking practical strategies to align your business goals with social good. If you're thinking of, well, what can I do as a person? What can my business do as a person for my society? You're in the right place. If you're looking to connect with like-minded women who lead with empathy, courage, and vision, this event is for you. And if you're curious about how your leadership can spark change in the society, one decision at a time, I'm telling you, you're definitely in the right place. Now, this is a time where we go into why we're here. Exactly. And I'm going to start by introducing Wikina. I'm going to start by introducing our speaker for today in the person of Mr. Ebenezer Wikina. He's the founder of Policy Shapers and convener of Rivers 2050 Vision, a 25 years development blueprint for River State. Mr. Ebenezer has trained activists in 36 countries across 5 continents. As part of his work, he's also a member of the Economic Forum Experts Network, the thematic lead at the NESG, and advisory committee member of the Nigeria Future Youth Award. He has received multiple awards and recognitions, including the Mandela Washington Fellowship, the Skull Fellowship, the Bridge Fellowship, and the first ever Sound City MVP Award for Community Development. He is an alumnus of the London School of Journalism and Harvard Kennedy School. So without much further ado, let's make welcome our speaker for today, Mr. Ebenezer. Over to you, sir. Thank you very much for signing up to be a speaker at our event today. And I must tell you, everyone that has joined us today, you're in for a good time. You're in to glean a lot of knowledge, and a lot of learning will be done today. So I just want you to get your writing materials, get something, your phone or your notepad, and make sure that you're jotting something down. Over to you, Mr. Ebenezer, and thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thank you so much, Grace. Thanks for such a wonderful introduction. Let me try to share. I think if Grace stops to share, I will then share my screen.
So
But yeah, thanks. It's such a pleasure and an honor to come share with you all. I'm married to a small business, a woman small business leader like you as well, and so I understand personally how challenging it is, right, for the kind of work that you do. So I'm really happy that Strong Women Small Boxes is putting this together to also help you see that there's so much more you can achieve beyond revenue and profits, but like how do you impact the world around you and also your own community as well. So our time is fast spent. I'll move a little bit quick, but you're going to get a copy of the slides, which will be shared with you from the team. So I love to start with the story. I often start these things with the story, and I think this is a very interesting story for you guys, because you might not know this, or some of you might already know this, but the first ever protest in West African history, Nigerian history, was led by women business leaders like you. In 1929, the Aba Women's Protest was held, and it was because the colonial powers at the time had thought that they were start taxing everybody, so including men and women. And in the Igbo culture, then women are actually not taxed. Men are only the ones that are usually taxed. And so they had passed out information with town criers that they were going to start taxing women. And so the market women at the time mobilized themselves with spam fronts and stuff like that, and came out for the first time, not men, women, for the first time. We had a group that was being colonized organize themselves. They didn't have phones, they didn't have letters and stuff like that. I'm not even sure how they were able to pass the word around. And they brought themselves together and they challenged the colonial powers. And that's how they were able to stop that taxation of women at that time in 1929. It got quite bloody. They killed some of the women. That didn't stop them. In fact, that even inspired many other women, because even in 1947, the Abeokuta women, led by Madam Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, who sadly, most times we hear about her, they always say, who is the first woman to drive a car in Nigeria? Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, which is quite like insulting, right? Because she's done a lot more than just driving a car, right? She was able to lead women in Abeokuta again on this same issue of taxes. And they made a sitting king in Egba land at the time leave his position because of just how much force. They had close to 10,000 women at the palace. The picture you see on the right, the unclear picture on the right, at the palace, demanding just their sheer number and presence was enough to intimidate, a sitting ruler. And he absconded, he left his throne because of just the kind of force and power that he had. And I tell you the stories to like let you know that most times people talk about women being the weaker sex. Oh, in Nigeria, like now there's so many bills fighting for women's rights in, whether it's in the Senate and stuff like that. But if we go back in our history, women have actually been at the epicenter of like social change, right? Even when everyone is scared to stand up, they have always stood up. And so I say this to tell you that nobody should tell you that you're weak. No one should tell you that you cannot cause change, because Nigerian women from West Africa are really, really powerful. And so many stories from history basically show us this. And you notice that one of the ways that, for the two stories I just shared, it was physical demonstration. They came out physically to demonstrate and cause change. If you've been following the news, you'd see that in so many countries now, over the past 2 years, physical demonstrations have been happening with Gen Zs, right? Gathering. There's Nepal, Kenya, most of last year. I was working with activists in Kenya around their Gen Z protests. Madagascar has been happening as well. There's so many of them, right? Indonesia and stuff like that. And truly, physical gatherings are a very powerful way to be able to like convey, like having a physical protest, a demonstration. It's a very powerful way to be able to like cause change and, speak truth to power. But the challenge is, in Nigeria, it's become harder and harder over the past couple of years, especially since EndSARS, to be able to come together and gather and physically do something, especially since this current administration got into office. Whenever any group tries to gather, the DSS steps in, right? They come in, they arrest the person, they, I don't know, kidnap them at night and stuff like that. So the question that many activists have been asking themselves within the country and across Africa, for most of us who have been speaking, is, what do you now do in a space that is shrinking, when it's harder for you to be able to come together and gather and cause change? And as women business leaders, how do you ensure that you don't put your business under risk while also finding other ways to engage and cause social change? So that's what the 5 things I'll share with you based on what are the other ways basically that you can cause change, as a business leader. Now, there's so many other creative advocacy tactics. Because of our time, I can't talk about each of them, but there's so many of them. Some people use arts, people use music, some people use film. For those who have seen the Woman King film, some people use fashion and stuff like that. And I'll give you 5 alternative advocacy pathways that I think, as a women business leader, if we can't, and hopefully in the future we will, but at the moment, if it's unsafe for you, for your family, as an individual, for your business, to be able to say, let's physically go gather and do something, what else can you do? And I'm going to share these five ways out of quite a number of other ways that are out there. I'll share 5 that I think are most effective for you. Now, the first is boycotts and strikes. Now, this one is something that we're quite conversant with because, like, a boycott is a refusal. Let me increase this. Sorry. A boycott is a refusal to buy or use a product as a form of protest, right? If you're boycotting something, it's like a large number of people are saying, we're not going to do this, and we all like say we're not going to use this particular product. Whereas a strike is like a work stoppage by employees to like express grievances and stuff like that. Now, since 2000, I'm sure we know what strikes are in Nigeria because there's been so many strikes. ASU themselves in Nigeria have gone on strike 15 times. I think they're currently on strike now. They've gone on strike 15 times since the year 2000, so it will be 16 times now. And the 2020 strike lasted for like 9 months. So we've seen our fair share of strikes, yeah? And there are some of the tips that are given on how you can use strikes and boycotts as a way to sort of like pass your message. The first is that there has to be a clear reason, right? People are usually united by purpose. So for example, if you're going on strike or you're doing a boycott, there has to be a reason why. You just don't say, let's not buy this product or let's not do this. Like there has to be some larger than, just a life purpose as to why you really want to do that. For people who are doing like strikes and stuff, there must be specific demands. People who are directly affected as well need to be part of this movement. It can't just be random people. And then for things like strikes and boycotts, it takes time sometimes for the change to happen. So you need to be patient as well as you go across it. There's some examples of boycotts. I think one of the most famous ones is in the US. In December 1955, the Montgomery bus boycott. People often know the story of Martin Luther King because a legend, but there's the story of Rosa Parks, who at the time in Alabama, Black people would often be made to stand if a white person comes into the bus and there's no space to sit, right? Rosa Parks said no. I can imagine maybe she was tired or something from taking care of her kids that day. And she was in the bus, and then the bus was filled up, and the white person came in. She said she's not going to stand. And they eventually threw her out of the bus. However, that sparked a year-long boycott from African Americans in that community. And the bus company lost up to 50% of their revenue, which then made them change the law, saying that Black people can actually then begin to sit. So that was just one Black woman changing something, by just refusing to do stuff. Another type of boycott, for example, could be there's so many like fake baby products in the market. I actually didn't know that this was a thing until we had my son last year, and then you just see like so many fake baby. I'm sure many of the women here can relate. So many fake baby products. And I think one of the ways that you could, for example, use a boycott in this space is if a certain producer of baby products, like maybe let's say cough syrup, right? For example, it's not doing anything about it, right? I mean, they have original, but then there's also fake, and they're not making any efforts to like stem out the fake products from the market. If mothers, for example, come together and say we are boycotting their product and going to another product and coordinate themselves, that company will actually be forced to address the fake thing because they're going to lose a lot of money from their own this thing. So those are some of the ways people often just use like boycotts and strikes as a way to protest. The second way is petitions. So this is not as effective in Nigeria because unlike the UK, I think it was Aisha who was based in the UK. In the UK has a parliament petition system. Yeah. So as a UK citizen, you can start a petition on that system. And if you hit 10,000 signatures, the government is mandated by law to respond to you. Can be on any issue. Look at these issues like repeal the current Dangerous Dogs Act. It could be anything. It could be on anything. It could be like trash, on your street or something. I don't know, like any issue basically. And as far as you're a UK citizen with your, I'm not sure what it's called, but the US calls it social security number. Once you have that number, just like our NIN here, and you start the petition, and you get other citizens to also sign, it goes viral. The government has to respond to you. It's not the case in Nigeria, and I'm currently working with a couple of people to see how we can build something for the National Assembly. But petitions are also a way where you're not physically going out there to protest, but digitally you're able to start an issue, ask for change on an issue online, and other people like you can sign the petition and it can go really, really viral and cause a lot of change. And I'll give you some examples of that. So that's what petitions are. A few tips for petitions just like with boycotts as well. You need to know what your goals are, right? You need to also identify who your target decision maker is. Most times people think of like only the president can cause all of the change that you want, but that's not true. Sometimes it could be a local government chairperson, it could be a state governor. It doesn't need to always be the president. I mean, president is the the nation's leader, right? But there's a hierarchy of power. So understand who has the power to cause change on a certain issue for your issue. Tailor your message to your audience, use simple and clear language, use persuasive language and storytelling as well, high quality images and stuff like that. These are a few tips by change.org. Once I share the slides with you, you'll see all of these things are hyperlinked, are like links to more articles if you want to read more about all of this stuff. So yeah, so in 2021, I got a chance to lead a campaign, a petition that we began as a petition because it was going to be tough for us. This was just post-EndSARS. We again couldn't physically gather because emotions were really high. And the reason why I began this campaign was I was just trying to do a business program at a US university after so many years of like doing tertiary education. And I applied to the program and they said that I have to write an IELTS test. And I'm like, that's just crap. I mean, I personally avoid every IELTS thing, but for the first time, they were like throwing it at me. And this was after I paid admission fees and everything. So I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. I took it to Twitter, got angry about it. The other people were angry with me. We sort of like called out the university. A few days later, they wrote back to say they have changed their policy. And then once that change happened, we started to think, okay, that's just one university out of, I don't know, hundreds all around the UK, Canada, everywhere. So how can we cause more change on this issue, especially in the diaspora, in a very safe way? So that's when we launched this petition as sort of like a step, and we were able to get, I think, 83,000 people plus to be able to sign that petition, and we started to cause a lot of change because of how viral the petition went, because of how we created infographics, sort of like mirroring the message of what we were saying in the petition about the cost of the IELTS test and the poverty rate and stuff like that. All of that started to get a lot of attention. We were invited by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who normally should be doing stuff like this, but instead we were the ones doing on their own behalf. The vice president at the time even got involved with the campaign, got interested, and wanted to know more, and also made a call, made a video, and endorsed the campaign. Because of our time, I can't play that because of our time, but you can watch it when I share. Also, another trick is if you've tried to get your business on TV, I don't know how people have tried to like reach into the media to want to like promote your business or stuff. It's really expensive, right? That's the same thing too for like campaigns and stuff. If you want to go feature on Arise now, for example, last time I heard, I think China was charging like 5 to 10 million for like an hour or something like that, depending on who the person is and stuff. So like it's really expensive, right? I mean, who has that? Them just pay for like 1 hour of talking. But if you're able to get, so one trick that we found, and this was when I was working at chain.org, if you're able to get a petition to trend, most TV, and it could be a petition, it could be anything, a campaign, an issue, just something, right? Most TV stations have a section on their show called What's Trending, right? And on that What's Trending section, they would go scout through the internet and find what Nigerians are talking about the most. And then they will talk about those things online, right? So Arise covered this issue of the petition without me or us reaching out to them, because we got it to trend online. Their What's Trending section covered it. So this is a trick that I've seen, and we've done it for so many campaigns over the past couple of years. If you really want to like find a backdoor to TV and get prime time coverage, try to make it trend online. And I think petitions are one of the ways to do that. I'll just play a few minutes of this and then I'll move on to the next point.
Well, let's talk about the fact that over 26,000 Nigerians have signed a petition.
Sorry, I think we've lost audio. Mr. Ebenezer?
This petition, which
You guys,
Okay,
you
yes.
guys are gonna
I think
hear.
it just picked up again.
Okay, I
Thank
think that
you.
was because of my mic was off. So just give me a sec. Let me try to share so that it shares directly from.
Okay,
Just a sec. It shares directly from the audio.
all right.
Yeah, give me a sec. Let me share again. Yeah, share sound. Okay. Okay, confirm if you can hear it now. Let me play.
The Home Secretary of the United Kingdom, Priti Patel, the fact
Yes,
that over
good.
26,000 Nigerians have signed a petition on change.org to stop the demand for English proficiency tests from Nigerians looking to travel abroad for studies or work. Now, this petition, which was initiated by policy shapers, was titled "Stop Asking Nigerians to Write IELTS." Now, in this petition, which was addressed to the Home Secretary of the United Kingdom, Priti Patel, the group Policy Shapers said the UK Home Office, which has 18 countries on its list which are exempted from writing the test, should apply the same to Nigeria and other Anglophone countries on the continent. Apart from that issue, it also argued that a test that costs more than 3 times the minimum wage and the result
Yeah, because of our time, I feel somehow about playing that all the way through. But like I said, when the PDF is shared from the team, feel free to watch it. You would see how the Arise team took on the issue, and this actually made it trend a lot more because they talked about it and more people got to know about it. So seeing petitions as a way to get on the media, that's also one trick that I've seen that has worked very, very well. So you guys can also keep that in mind. And yeah, because of the petitions influence, and then we engaged the UK government, but also started to also engage like individual universities. So we had students in these various universities engaging their admissions office. We had a coordination group on WhatsApp and stuff like that. And so many universities, I think now 30 plus universities, even those we didn't engage, started to change their policy around these issues, folks across the UK and the US and stuff like that. So we didn't have to physically gather. Most of us never met ourselves. We've never met ourselves till now, since 2021 when we began the campaign. But just using virtual technology and leveraging petition as a way to bring people together has worked for us. Okay, so the third point, media. So most people might have watched the documentary by Kiki Modi, the sad one about how there's sex for grades in universities, and sort of like, I know like you guys can tell me a lot more stories about that because some people might have had personal experiences about it, right? That's a huge menace. But just seeing how she was able to use investigative journalism as a way to bring out an issue and make it viral, right? And get the attention of so many people. She didn't have to do a protest about sex for grades. She did a story about it and then got it out there. As women business leaders, we can also have certain issues that it might not be safe for you to sort of like talk about it, but these BBC teams, investigative journalists like Foundation for Investigative Journalism and stuff, they are looking for those kind of stories, right? They don't mind taking on the risk. They're like daredevils, right? So you can actually pitch some of these things even to the media to say, you know what, I don't want to be involved, but this issue, I have evidence about it. Can you help me put it out there? And just like Kiki did with that story, that went really, really viral. So identified like key journalists based on the niche that you're in. There's certain journalists that cover business stories. Some cover, gender-based violence stories. Some cover, don't know, like politics and stuff like that. So don't just pitch to any journalist, know which kind of like bits that they often, and what niche that they often cover. Journalists often also like that if they come to you to like interview you for something, you're often like, you have information, you're like a reliable source. That's one way to build relationship with them. So that even when you're not even like looking for media coverage, they are often the ones coming to you to say, hey, would you be willing to, come for an interview to do X, Y, Z? That's a very important thing to also keep in mind as well. So these are the other tips there. Feel free to look at that once I share. And these are a few other people who have used like documentaries. I talked about sex for grades that began as a documentary, then eventually became law. In the National Assembly, they picked that up. And then there's the Save Babagega story, which was lead poisoning. That's Code, a civic organization here in Nigeria, was able to push. Some people use photojournalism as well, take stories of key things. I have a friend who does stories of like the Niger Delta region and the oil pollution and stuff. That's also one of the ways that you could put stuff out there. Press conferences as well could also be another way. For example, Strong Women Small Boxes could host the press conference on the impact of taxes on women businesses starting from next year. Maybe after the first 3 months, the first quarter of the taxation regime, you could say, let's do a press conference on this and invite the media. They love those kind of things. They don't mind. They will show up as far as there's a story around it to say, either it's impacting women or it's making their businesses better, or maybe that's reduce multiple taxation or something. There needs to be an angle. Once there's an angle there, the media is always happy to show up. So that's something you could also use as well for your work. So the fourth point, I'm just checking my time. The fourth point, research-led advocacy. So I've spoken about boycotts and strikes. I talked about petition and media. Now with research-led advocacy is mostly around using data. How do you use data as a way to advocate for something? And what most organizations do is that they now publish like white papers, position papers, reports, and stuff like that, pointing out certain issues. A good example is Africa Polling Institute, the photo here. They have something called the National Social Cohesion Report that speaks about how cohesive we are as a nation, whether we're more divided or we're closer and stuff. They use different indicators, so like check that out, and they release the reports every year. You know, like I said, Strong Women Small Boxes, for example, could do a report. Again, if you don't want to do a press conference on taxes, you could do a quick position paper or a short policy brief on how it's affecting women. It doesn't have to be taxes, right? It could be anything. I'm just using taxes because that's the trending thing. But it could be anything. It could be what's unique challenges are women facing in their businesses, right? Or how women are launching businesses from home. What are some of the things that they're doing to overcome the barriers of having to have a big shop and stuff like that? So there's so many angles that you could use. But again, remember that with research, there needs to be a problem you're trying to solve. Your data has to be credible. So it's either quantitative or qualitative. Quantitative as in like numbers, like 5 out of 10 people say this, that's quantitative. Qualitative is like you've spoken to a certain number of people and they have quotes and stuff around that. So you need to be able to have that kind of info. You need to also like have up-to-date information as well. Data is often a challenge for us in Nigeria. So you might have quite a bit of challenge and might have to get primary data for quite a lot of the things that you want to do. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes Google Scholar and all of these like platforms that they have research is quite useful. But again, just know that you might have to find some data from scratch. And yeah, when your report is ready, use various communication channels to be able to share them out there as well. These are a few like research-led advocacy work. When Grace was introducing me earlier, she spoke about Rivers 2050. That's something that we're doing a research on how citizens of Rivers State see the future, right? What are their aspirations and their wishes? And we're using like focus group discussions and key informal interviews and surveys to do that. So that's going to be like a research-led futuristic advocacy where we've gotten this data from people, put it in a book, and then we advocate to the government and say, this is what the people want, not all those your fancy ideas, and then we begin to advocate for the things people want at various local government areas. I also worked on this project where we looked at the various sickle cell laws in Nigeria, sort of like what are the existing laws around sickle cell and how people with sickle cell sort of like need support from the government and stuff like that. So there's so many of those kind of things. People in the NGO space do that a whole lot, but I feel like that's something that this community could also be doing too as well, based on the insights that you're getting. Okay, the final point, lobbying. So with lobbying, most of these other ones are like distant ways to advocate. Lobbying is more closer. It's more like direct. You're coming closer to the, decision maker. Petitions are fine. You can be in your house and start petition. Research, you can do your research from wherever you are. Media, you can pitch to a journalist or speak on the media, all of those things, boycotts and stuff, you don't need to even see them. But with lobbying, it's how you can be strategic. You need some kind of like quiet strategy on how you can engage decision makers and get them to do what you want and feel like that's what they want to do as well. You need a lot of kind of like thinking as well in the process. And I think a good case study of this, I feel like one of the best lobbying examples that I've been part of is Not Too Young to Run campaign. Because what basically the campaign was about is the campaign was asking the National Assembly, basically men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, to approve a bill to allow men in their 20s and 30s to come compete against them. It sounds ridiculous when you hear it, right? But somehow, with a lot of lobbying, they were able to find ways to engage. They didn't so much try to use media. I mean, they had some media here. They didn't use a petition, obviously. They found some other like creative ways, but lobbying was the major way that they were able to make it happen. I mean, a few points around that. They would go to Saraki's house to break Ramadan fast with him and engage with him privately to sort of like get his interest on this particular issue. They would, they didn't have special funding. They had like a team of people who were engaging in the various states as well and all that. I remember a couple of years ago when we were trying to get, for example, if you're trying to reach the governor of a particular state, people often think that you just like go through the governor's office and stuff like that. Sometimes it's the chief of staff who would decide where the governor should be on a particular day. So instead of trying to go to the governor's office, go to the chief of staff's office first. Sometimes it might not be chief of staff, it might be a commissioner who is very close to the governor, who can just tell him, I think you should talk to these people, and the person will listen to you. I mean, there's a story of when we were trying to see this governor, and we had to, I mean, we've tried a couple of times. My boss and I, we've been there a couple of weeks, months, we'll travel and then come back to Port Harcourt, go to Abuja, travel again and stuff like that. And then someone told us that, oh, by the way, this person really loves his parish priest. And that, yeah, that we should go see the parish. I just tell him that we want to see the governor, So that Sunday, we had to work on that Sunday. We go to the Catholic Church. After Mass, we go see the parish priest. He decided to see us unhappy and everything. And then we're like, by the way, we've been trying to reach this governor for months. And he said, why? Why haven't you seen him? We said, well, most times they say he's busy, he's not around and stuff like that. He said, give me a minute. And he picks up his phone and he calls. We don't know if it's his governor or whoever he calls. He calls someone and just says, yeah, please come around or something like that. The next 10, 15 minutes, we hear a siren. We hear a siren. And lo and behold, the governor shows up in church, and he goes to hug the parish priest. They're talking about some other stuff. And then he says, oh, by the way, these people have been trying to reach you. Come and see them. My friends are here, and then the priest comes, the governor comes to meet us in the priest's office. And the same meeting we've been trying to reach him for, I don't know, months, happens in the parish priest's office. They're sitting down there talking about the same issues. So like with lobbying, there's something we call in the advocacy, it's called the power map. You need to know who has the power to influence who. And sometimes you might not go to the direct person you need to engage. You go to who has the power to influence them. And that's sometimes how you're able to make all of these things work. And I think that's what the Not Too Young to Run campaign was basically about. So those are the 5 points. That's basically what I wanted to share with you guys. There's so many more other ways, but I think these 5 ways are sort of like most effective ways that I've seen. Some people use art and other things, but in our climate in Nigeria, mostly West Africa, these 5 ways I think are quite useful. And I'll close now with this, with what an advocacy plan is like. What I've spoken to you are the pathways for advocacy. But there are the other things that come together to form an advocacy plan, and we'll do a short plan, like a brief plan together, if we have some time, and we'll see, so that you start thinking about like what are the other things you put together when you're coming up with the plan. Now, the first thing is you need to know what the problem is. What issue are you trying to change, right? Is it on taxes? Is it on, I don't know, how business grants or something? It could be any issue, right? Second question is the power holder. Who has the power to change it, right? Who is the decision maker? Like I said, don't just think only of the president or the governor. It could be someone way, way lower. So study more to know who is this under their jurisdiction, basically to kind of like cause change on it. The third one is the pathway. I just told you about the pathways. You can use petitions, you can use demonstrations, you can use boycotts, you can use media, etc. So those are the pathways. And then the final one is the partners. With advocacy, it's very hard for one person to do it on their own. Even when you're starting a petition, you need people to help you amplify it, right? So partners is very, very key. So think of who do you need to come to, what's in it for them, how would they help you, why should they help you, why should they join you in this particular movement and stuff like that. So think of the people that these things affect and engage them to be your partners as well. So this is what an advocacy plan looks like. When you see all of the work that most NGOs do, the plan is broken into these 4 sections: problem and proposed solution, power holder, the pathway, and the partners. And you'll be nice if we're able to do a quick activity around this. Just everything you've heard so far, think of any issue that affects you. Maybe Grace or Gertrude to kind of like help me to coordinate this. Anything that affects you, who do you think has the power to affect you and affect your business? Who do you think has the power to cause change on this particular issue? What way do you think you want to solve it? Do you want to use a petition? You want to use media? You want to use research, publish a report, or write an article or something like that? And who are the partners that you want to work with? I mean, you already have strong women small boxes as well, so that's a good place to start. You have other strong women in your community, but who are the other partners as well? Do you want to work with? So if we have, I see we have 6 minutes. So should we use like 2 minutes to just try something? It doesn't have to be perfect. You just heard this for the first time, so I don't expect you to have a perfect plan. But just let's just like test, just try something out. Each of us and put something in the chat just so that it gives us an idea that you've been able to understand what we said. And then I think I can then pass this on to Gertrude.
Okay. Thank you so much. I mean, I can't even tell you how much I've learned from this. Sincerely, I use post-it note, and my post-it note are all full. It's amazing. Thank you so much. So everyone, just the exercise, just what from everything that you've heard so far, what is one issue that you would want to address? What's one area that you would want to address? And who do you think can actually bring about that change? Right? I think that's the exercise. Okay, yes. So can you all drop it in the chat? And while I'm just waiting for everyone to do that, I want to add to something that you have said so beautifully. I think sometimes a lot of women might think that, like, why should I do this? Now, let me actually mention that huge organizations like Microsoft run campaigns as well. And some of the very big campaigns that you've probably heard, the Me Too campaign, were also led by women. So if Microsoft, if Dove, if Western Union, some of these huge organizations that you've heard of are using campaigns. I don't know why you, as a small business owner, think you cannot use campaign to actually push a mission, push something that you believe in. Instead of always using social media to just come and talk, let's create something, let's create meaningful change from everything that impacts us. So please drop it in the chat. What is that one area that is really pricking you? You might have discussed it with friends, with family, on social media. What's that one area you would want to see change? And who do you actually think can bring about that change? And who will you work with? Yes. If you want to come on, if you want to verbally say it, yes, then please just raise your hands and I'll turn on your, or you can turn on your mic and you can just go ahead. Anyone?
Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're just hearing this for the first time. So I don't expect you to have don't think of perfection, just think of say the way you feel it, basically. Just let us know how you're feeling.
Let's start from the very first one. What is one issue that is that you think is affecting you in your business? It could be the taxes that are coming up in January, I believe. What is that one thing? It could be a personal life, it could be in your business, it could be something. What's that one issue you want to see addressed? Anyone wants to speak? We have a couple of people here.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Leslie, go ahead, please.
Okay, so I think one of the issues that I have been passionate about, or sort of excites me to contribute towards, has been the bad reputation that Nigeria has, especially on the international scene. And that's because I have been privileged to do a lot of work where I get to interact with people from other countries, especially as someone who also works remotely at some point. So I know what it feels like to get through certain doors, and the moment someone learns that you're from Nigeria, it's like that door shuts and closes in your face. So that's something I have been concerned about. And a lot of times when I also am on platforms like LinkedIn, and someone would, a fellow Nigerian who posts something like Nigeria happened to me on LinkedIn, especially something that has nothing to do with Nigeria itself, it annoys me. So it's something I've really been passionate about and excited to contribute towards.
That's amazing. Who do you think has the power to cause this change? Which decision maker, within government? I mean, this looks like an issue that extends beyond government even. So who and who do you think have the power to cause this change?
First of all, I think all of us,
Okay.
because we all contribute to that narrative. We amplify. We are aware to only share the negative parts of this amazing country, especially on social. But secondly, I think I could be wrong, but I think the National Orientation Agency is not doing enough when it comes to some of these things, because I feel that's an agency that should be doing so much to sensitize people, to inform people, even about some of the changes going on that people don't even know how it benefits them, to even see how Nigeria is trying to, in some way, make their lives better. So I think that's one agency I can quickly point to.
Amazing. Yeah. Orientation agency. I like how you broke it. All of us as citizens, orientation agency. I could also throw in Ministry of Foreign Affairs because they also manage our reputation as well abroad. Sort of like how Nigeria is portrayed in media, etc. So that could also be another angle. Who and who do you think you want to work with beyond the citizens now? Which organizations have the power to like broadcast us better for people abroad to see?
Okay, so I recently started working with other communications professionals who are doing, who came together. So we all came
Your
together.
voice is a bit faint.
Can
Can
you hear
you?
me now?
Yes, better now. Okay, go on.
Okay, so I recently started working with other communications professionals. So we came together, right? Some of the comms professionals in Abuja came together.
Sorry, Les, your voice is, it keeps coming and going.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Better now, yeah. Let's see
So
if
I
it's
said
still.
myself and other communications professionals within Abuja came together, and we are working on an initiative that would contribute to solving this problem. It's called the Nigerian side, changing the Nigerian narrative. So we've been we are still at the early stage, but I mean it's our way of trying to do what we can to rewrite that story. It's a storytelling process, just to reshape that narrative that Nigerians are all terrible people, they are all scammers, they are all fraudsters, they are all corrupt people, they are this and that. Just trying to showcase more of the good things about Nigeria that the world needs to know about, beyond these other narratives that everybody tends to stamp on us.
Amazing. I mean, I'm sure we've already gone to minutes above time, but like, yeah, amazing. I like how Lisa was able to break this down. And you can use the same framework for any other issue, right? It could be maybe because of the products that you're using for your business, it's more the high cost of import duty has gone up. So you want to talk about that. And talking about that for you would also help other businesses, not just women business, leaders, but other businesses as well who are experiencing the same thing that you might be going through. So it's important to find the people who would care about something just like you. Lizzy's communications folks like her who can help amplify this. So just keep that in mind as you're thinking of your campaign. So I hope this was useful. I know I had to rush through many of the parts, but I hope it was useful for you. Let me know. Oh, Aisha has something. Gender inequality in pay. Who has the power to change this management? Yes. Women in the workplace through a survey understand the reasons for the gap. Union leaders represent staff management. I think Aisha is thinking here as a HR expert. That's a that's a very important point because there's a huge gender inequality. I know that it came up in sports. As a tennis fan, men and women play the same tennis competition. Men get way higher, women get less. And I think that issue came up a lot during tennis last year. So yeah, and I'm sure the many organizations where women actually struggle with that as well. So thanks Aisha for sharing that. So I'll pass this to you now, Gertrude. I don't know how much more time we can stretch this.
We have a question, and I do have a comment, but we'll take the question from Chinemere first, and then we'll see what we can do. Chinemere, please go ahead.
All right, thank you for this opportunity, and that was really insightful. My eyes are opened. First, I deal on perfumes, wholesale and retail, and one of the challenges is when you go to the market to restock, you see a lot of adulterated oils. So most times it's really difficult to find the original ones. Even the fake ones almost look like the original until maybe the consumers use them and then begins to complain. So recently I had to even take a lot of time to find out who is selling the original. And I feel the government maybe the those who are in charge of maintaining the quality of products that are used in Nigeria should be able to look into that, because sometimes these things can cause health issues for people, for some people too. So that's one of the challenges I experience. Then on the other side, I write content, but I noticed that in Nigeria, the global payment for roles, I've observed that when it comes to paying in Nigeria, it's not the same role somewhere else will be paid a higher rate, but for in Nigeria it will be lower because maybe you are an African or because you're a Nigerian, and that's not fair. That's not fair. I've experienced someone who is very close to me. The same role, someone else in another country receives double of the salary he receives here in Nigeria. And yet you still work your ass out. So it's really painful, but I'm hoping that things will get better. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I think you raised two very important issues. The one on fake oils, very important, because like we even have fake food products now. There's so much adulterated stuff, across the country. And I think just talking about the oils can even help shine the lights on the other fake things that are out there. So folks like NAFDAC, the Standardization Organization of Nigeria, SON, and people who are supposed to check all of these things, right? Maybe an article could be the first place to start. You could talk about the fact that maybe you do a short article, like a blog post, saying that as part of your business, you have to go purchase oils, and you found that there's an alarming rate of increase in fake oils in the markets and all of that. And then talk about the dangers that poses to people's skin, and maybe have some kind of data on the increase in skin diseases and stuff like that. That begins to bring some kind of attention to it. Publishing that, the media, a journalist says that media wants you to come and talk about it on radio or TV, and that begins to elevate your voice on the issue. And like I said, talking about one issue would then begin to mirror all the other issues to be like, oh, there's fake food, oh, there's fake clothes, oh, there's fake this. And then, people who are supposed to act will then be forced to act as well. So I think those are very important points that you raised. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chinemerem, and thank you so much, Mr. Ebenezer. Just before we round up, I just want to make a couple of comments myself. And there's something Leslie said that just actually reminded me of an experience. I think sometime around 2015, 2016, when the UN SDSN Youth was formed, I was privileged to join as a project officer. And immediately I joined, did all the whole induction. They gave me access to the general email to use to answer communications and everything. And immediately I logged in, everyone received a notification that, oh, there's a login from Nigeria. Now, they didn't know that it was a part of the team that had logged in, because obviously I was in project, other people were in different parts and departments. And boom, there was exchanges. We have a prince from Nigeria who was logged in, LOL, blah, 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 please change. I sat down for a minute. I was like, oh my God. I then had to respond to it. And then my immediate manager as well responded that no, it's Gertrude, blah, blah, blah. She's a member of the team. And then everybody like, oh, sorry about that. And for 1 second, I was like, oh my God. Just because you saw a login from Nigeria, you automatically imagine it was a scammer, it was a prince from Nigeria, it was, and you'll be surprised how much the Nigerian prince thing is so prevalent in other parts of the world. So let's say this is something I totally, completely as agree with, I've experienced, I've seen it happening over and over again. And definitely kudos to the projects that you're working on. If you can, we definitely want to feature it on Strong Women Small Boxes post and see how we can share it as well. It's definitely something that should go wide. Additionally, from Chinemerem, something Chinemerem has said as well, for me to be beauty products in Nigeria that are not regulated, because Nigerian women are heavy users of beauty products, and the market is heavily unregulated. And then the pay gap as well is a huge thing. And very recently, I saw a post online where somebody was mentioning that the AI that is being used in Silicon Valley and all of these places is actually powered by young children who are working in mines in Congo, who they have to work to bring out the cobalt or some of this whatever is used to power those machines. And these people are treated so poorly, paid so badly to power the AI systems that we're using all over the world. So these are different things that impact us that we can raise issue about instead of being silent as women entrepreneurs. We've seen the About Women riots, we've seen all of these things. So we know that we have the power, and sometimes all it takes is one voice. Ibukun said something. She says, collaborate with gender experts and CIPM to advocate for equal pay. I intentionally did a benchmarking for salary range with a percentage increase across all roles. This led to equal pay across. Amazing. Amazing. And this is just maybe just you or you and a few other people or whatever. But wherever we find ourselves as business leaders, we absolutely can effect change. And this should inspire us to continue to do that. Luckily, this recording will be available on the website, on our social media. So more people can get to see it, more people can see how they can continue to effect change wherever they are with issues that affect us personally. So once again, thank you so much. Can we have a round of applause for Mr. Ebenezer? It's been such a truly insightful session. A round of applause, comment in the chat. Let's know what this was for you. Did you enjoy anything? What was the experience? What are you taking back? Round of applause, round of applause. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Awesome. Okay. So was this a good session for everyone? Did we take something from it? Just let me know with a thumbs up or with a comment to say great, it was amazing. Let's let Mr. Ebenezer know that this was actually impactful for all of us. Awesome. Chinamaran says great. It was great and insightful session. Thank you, Bukun. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Okay. So we're just going to let everyone go now. Like I said, Aisha said, wonderful session, amazing. The recording will be available on the website for those who did not join in. Obviously, we had so many registrations. We'll share the link to everyone who could not join in so they can watch, and I'm sure that we'll follow up and see how Strong Women as well can launch a campaign and a project on our own. Thank you so much once again. All right. Do have a great day, everyone. See you soon.
Thank you so much, team. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day, everyone.
All right.